Hold on, guys. Just got done making this video, and I realized that a lot of the stuff, while it was still kind of in frame, was kind of right at the top of the frame. So I'm going to see if I can not only frame things a little better, but maybe shorten things up as well. That video ended up being about 45 minutes. Maybe I can consolidate this one down more. It may end up longer, who knows. Probably not off to a very good start. But I wanted to fire up the camera and show you guys the latest iteration of what I call my go bag or my general maintenance bag. And this is something I've kind of had several different versions of over the years. But they've all just kind of been something that I can grab, that I can go to, that I can throw in my truck and go. If somebody calls, if they're having trouble with an appliance, heating and air, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, automotive, you name it. And even for me, just around my own house, I like to have something where everything's kind of consolidated and ready to go. If I'm changing out an outlet, earlier today I swapped out a remote transmitter for my ceiling fan in my bedroom. I grabbed this bag, had everything I needed, and then some. And it just kind of has everything ready to go to make things quicker and easier. Whether I'm changing something, assembling, disassembling, troubleshooting, this is kind of an all-in-one bag. Now, obviously, it's not going to have every little single thing you're ever going to need, especially some of the more specialty tools. It's not going to have like your screw guns, though maybe I could fit a 12-volt Milwaukee or like a small impact in there. But it doesn't currently have anything like that. It's not going to have things like ladders and other little things you might need to get to places. I do not currently have any flashlights really to speak of. I might go ahead and throw a headlamp on here. I've got one of those hanging around here somewhere that I like. But other than that, this is really just like 95% of the basic hand tools you're going to find yourself going to in order to start and often even finish a job. So let's go ahead and jump into it. For the bag, I know there's a ton of options out there. I've always really liked the Husky brand tool bags. That's sold at Home Depot. A lot of their hand tools are really nice as well. I'm not sure if the bags have lifetime warranties. I know most of their hand tools do. But for the money, they're really hard to beat. They hold up. I've got several different versions of tool bags and tool holders and accessories. And I've always just really had some good luck with them. Not that everything they make is great, but I do like their bags. Now, you've got other options, of course. If you go to Menards, they've got the Master Force brand. You've got Bucket Boss. If you've got a lot of money, the top best of the best is going to be like your Vito bags and things like that. CLC makes a good bag. There's all kinds of options out there. But for this one, we're going with the Husky. This is the 13 pocket large utility tool pouch. And I just really like this. I've actually got a very similar setup at my day job for HVAC work and otherwise. And it just really does what I need it to do. It's a nice, tight, easy to use and carry package. And it has just enough pockets, I think, to kind of keep things organized, but not so many that you're kind of fighting, what you can put where. So I really like it. It does have a handle. It does kind of tend to favor, leaning out towards the front. But none of these tools are really ever going to fall off. I can jiggle it around. I can drop it, pop it down. Everything stays in place. I do wish it had a dedicated shoulder strap, but it does come with a belt that you can close up and use for a shoulder strap. That works every bit as well. I would prefer shackles and D-rings and swivels, but you can't have everything all the time. So, this works every bit as well. My bag at work actually did crimp on a couple of chain links, the handle sides, so that I could maybe retrofit a shoulder strap. I imagine I could put a shoulder pad onto this if I felt the need, but this actually works very well as is. So I highly recommend this bag. The best thing is it's only like $22, 23 bucks at the most at Home Depot. So a lot of value for the money. So as far as the tools, we're going to jump right into it. This is kind of a living thing. Things get added and removed as time goes by. There's a lot of redundancy here. Some things I could probably do without, some things I would still like to add. I would probably eventually like to have a dedicated hammer maybe like a 8 or 12 ounce ball peen, even a 16 ounce. I'd also like a bag with some miscellaneous electrical connectors and parts, heat shrink, wire nuts, that kind of thing. Something like this CLC zipper clip-on bag here. This is one I carry with my socket sets. It's got a bunch of screwdriver bits and extensions, things like that. I ordered a few more of these recently. I'm going to outfit with some electrical connectors, maybe an extra roll of electrical tape, and just some odds and ends, jumper cables, that kind of thing. And this can clip on the bag or just go right inside. But just as an example, those are really the only things I can think of that I probably don't already have in this bag. And again, maybe a little 12-volt impact might jam in here just to have on me, but or clip on the side. But this pretty much has everything else. So we're going to try to run through it. One thing I do like to have, these little clip-on glove holders with a swivel. Carry for this bag a set of framing gloves with the fingers cut out, thumb and first 2 fingers for dexterity. Still really good hand protection. And these glove clips are really nice. You can clip shop towels on there. You can clip safety glasses in there. You can use a carabiner to clip other things onto. The bag does come with a little loop here that you might almost overlook, but holds really nice things like that. And then on the back here, I'll just show you quickly. I also have this large locking carabiner with a shop towel just for keeping my hands and tools clean. And about 20 feet or so of 550 paracord, which is one of those things. It's just a nice little handy utility rope to have, whether you're pulling a bag or hanging a bag, pulling tools up, or hanging stuff. Actually, earlier today, I grabbed this bag to change out a remote sensor in my bedroom ceiling fan, and I used the paracord to kind of suspend the whole fan from the ceiling while I wire nutted everything together to lift it up in place. So just a handy little accessory that clips on the bag here. And you can always use these carabiners as well to like clip on your belt with like a wrench or some other tools if you're crawling up into an attic or down into a crawl space. These are nice to kind of clip on or, you know, hang stuff with. So that's a little bit of that. Got a tape hanger on the side, black electrical tape, some Teflon tape or PTFE tape. This is the Blue Monster, which I think is the best. This is their silver tape. They make a blue one that's nice. Then I've also got some red electrical tape, and the reason for that is I like having at least 2 different colored tapes if I'm working on 220 or doing some electrical work with a lot of different wires. The red you can actually write on, and for writing on that I like using these Milwaukee ink saws. They write very well on just about anything. You could leave the caps off, they don't dry out. And these may even be a little bit cheaper than Sharpies, and I think they work better as well. They got nicer clips that clip on very nice. Just really a great writing tool. That goes in a holder over here. Let's start going through the bag. So on the back here, I do also have some Nitrile Gloves. I stick in the kind of belt loop holder. It's almost like a little glove dispenser. Again, I don't wear gloves a lot. But it's nice having a couple options there, especially if you're working with something that's like real oily and you're, you know, trying to protect your hands and your skin. Those fit in there. I could probably even add another pair or 2, you know, just to have 3 or 4 pairs in here. Now let's go through the sides here. Got a large bolstered flathead, hardened tip, good for extra leverage, good for a pry bar, for cleaning stuff out. You guys know what these are used for. This one doesn't have a strike plate. I try not to beat on my screwdrivers anyway, but these are really good just for general usage. And another thing I like to use this one for is for this little Irwin multi-saw. It's got a flathead screw on it. This can be adjusted in or out. This is a 10-inch blade. It can hold 12s. It can go back and forth in the handle to choke up or get more length. And then the other really nice thing about this handle is that it also holds a reciprocating saw or Sawzall style blade. So good for roughing in drywall, plywood, that kind of thing. You know, not going to be better than a dedicated Sawzall or bandsaw or even a hacksaw frame, but good for tight spaces where you might not be able to fit something like that into, just kind of as a last-ditch tool. So that's these two. Moving on around to the side. This is probably one of my favorite tools in the bag, and this is a new pair I just bought today, the 10-inch Canipex Cobra or water pump pliers. A lot of copies and knockoffs of these. I'm going to tell you, these are the best. Nobody's going to do them better than Canipex. They are a little pricey, but actually as far as most of their tools go, these are about $30. They're going to be on the lower end of that price spectrum, so nice to have. I would actually take these often over a pair of, you know, pipe wrenches or any other kind of pliers. I carry a pair of these at work quite often, and they're kind of my go-to for a lot of different tasks and jobs. If you've got to grab, twist, turn something, this is what you need. I'd like to eventually get one of every size, but I'll probably need to take out a second mortgage on the house. These do have lifetime warranties though. You know, they're second to none. Pricey, but worth every penny. And while we're on the Canipex, I do have a small set of their Pliers Wrenches, 7 1/4, I believe these are. Again, I'd like to get a 10-inch pair of these, but if I could only have 2 tools out of this whole bag before I throw them on the floor, they're going to be these two. Again, these replace just about any wrench or pliers. 10-to-1 compounding leverage. I use these for crimping, pulling, turning, twisting. The way they're designed, you can actually use them in a ratcheting function or manner. Very pricey, even more so than these, but again, worth every penny. And though there's a lot of guys trying to copy these, I don't think anybody comes close to the actual Canipex brand. I've also got a large pair of channel locks. Just sometimes you need, you know, 2 sets of something if you're tightening a union or something like that. It's good to have an additional pair. Eventually I'll probably get a 12-inch pair of these and take these out of the bag. But these are a good combo. Interestingly enough, the Canipex actually have a larger capacity than these. And I guess these are both probably a 10-inch pair of wrenches. These are actually a little bit bigger though, and they grip better too. So these are the preference, but these are a nice backup. I've got another Irwin driver. This is a multi-bit nut driver. Kind of a nice tool if you don't want to fill your whole bag with nut drivers. They're not really good for if you need like a deep nut driver or deep well if you've got like shafts sticking up. But really good for like sheet metal screws and that kind of thing, or surface mounted nuts. Got your 11/32, 3/8, quarter, 5/16, 7/16, and half. So just about every size you would commonly come into contact with. I believe they make a metric version of this as well, but I don't do a lot of metric nut driving, so I grab this tool a lot. It works very well. And I'm actually just going to kind of throw these back in here as I go, just because I'm a little limited on table space here. Master Force Kleins, or lineman's pliers, however you want to say that. I gotta say, you know, I used to really not go for these Master Force brands. I kind of looked at them as a cheap China knockoff of a lot of tools. I know they did used to have a USA plant for like sockets and some of their hand tools, but this brand has really grown on me over the years. They do have a lifetime warranty. This is the Master Force Pro version of their Kleins or their lineman pliers. And I gotta say, I would probably put these up against anybody's. They feel good. They've got nice sharp teeth, very sharp cutters, high leverage, good grippers on the back, just really well made. And they feel like any pair of Kleins I've ever had or used, which cost 2 or 3 times more than these do. I mean, you'll pay $50, $60 for a pair of Kleins. These were, I think, around $15 or $16. So really hard to beat, lifetime warranty, and they do what they need to do. So I'm really impressed with those. Similarly, I've got some of their dikes or diagonal cutters. These are the 8-inch high leverage. Got some grippers on the back for pulling, nice sharp teeth. These are a joy to use, really good for wire and zip ties. And then these are my favorite pair currently of needle nose pliers. Very well made. These are the 8-inch version, which is my preferred length for needle nose. They've got a nice long sharp needle nose. And the cool thing about these, they actually have a wire stripper built in to the cutter. I believe it's for a 12 gauge. You could probably make it work for 14 as well. But just a good multi-use tool. They've got the grippers on the back as well. Nice sharp teeth, good sharp, strong needle nose pliers. Really comfortable to use and to get in where they need to. And these are all the Master Force Pro. I want to say these are like $12 or $15. But a really good alternative to some more expensive brands out there. I'm really happy with these. And lifetime warranty for all of those, which is nice. Let's stick with some Klein tools for a little bit. We've got a 6-in-1 stubby. I think the best stubby on the market. Very tight, very small, good comfortable rubber grip. Quarter 5/16 nut drivers. Number 1 and number 2 Phillips and slotted. Really handy for getting into tight spaces. And pairs really nice with my favorite multi-bit driver, or one of them, is the Klein 11-in-1. This has your Phillips and slotted quarter 5/16 3/8 nut drivers. I think it's T8 and T10 torques, or T6 and T8. Common torque sizes, Robertson as well. I know they make some variations of this with Schrader valve bits and otherwise, and whatever the electrical kind of Phillips /square bits are. This is probably my favorite version of the tool, though. I use this all the time. I've got one at work I use all the time, and it's just really hard to beat. One slightly better than this, if you're looking for a good all-around general purpose, would probably be the Wira. I'm trying to remember if it's Wira or Wiha now. I believe it's Wiha, W-I-H-A. They make a 26-in-1. I've got it in my work bag. It's got bits in the handle, pretty much everything you could ever want or need. It's probably 2 or 3 times the cost of this one, though. So this is a really good option to beat on and use every day. And I've had several of these over the years and always have liked them. Another Klein driver is the flip driver. This is 1000-volt insulated. Bit flips around, slotted or Phillips. I haven't used this one too much yet. It seems pretty well made. It's a little pricey, about $20 for the driver. A couple things I do like, though, is that it does have both bits. It also has a flush mounted insulation on the bit. What I don't like, though, is how easy it is to kind of turn this and pop this out. Sometimes as I'm jamming this down in the tool bag, you know, it'll drop that out. So I don't really like that. I wish I could lock this better, or that it had some kind of different detent mechanism. But still not a bad driver. A little pricey for what it is, though, maybe. Nice to have both options, though, in one package. So that's that. Fat Max, straight cutters, straight snips. You can go left, right, or straight with them. Good all around 10 snip or utility cutter. We'll get a little bit into this meter. This is about one of the smallest clamp meters you can find, I believe, on the market today. Good kind of all-around voltage and amp meter. This is a Unity UT210E. And, you know, probably not for real big wires, but good for standard, you know, 12, 14 gauge, 10 gauge stuff. It's got a non-contact voltage detector, amps, capacitance, diodes, resistance, pretty much all your basics. Comes with a little package here, very low profile. I keep an additional jumper wire in here, as well as some alligator lead ends. These slide onto your probe tips. Good for keeping it hands-free. The probes go in the cover. And I do wish it had maybe a magnet on the back, but you could always use the amp clip to kind of hang it on stuff. But still, you're not going to get much more compact than this particular multimeter. And I believe it is true RMS, which is nice. And it seems to have held up pretty well. I've used it quite a bit. Really good troubleshooting tool. So there's that. I got a couple of ratcheting closed-end wrenches. These are kind of 4-in-1, made by Crescent. They're the X6 or spline drive. Good for SAE. I believe they also work on the close-sized metric as well as spline drive fasteners and such. They are reversible: 3/4, 5/8, 11 9/16, 5 7/16, and 3/8 and 1/2. So a nice little assortment and a pretty small package. Just nice to grab if you don't want to use, you know, the plier wrench or your adjustables. A little extra option there that come in handy. Empire combo square. It's got a level as well as a scribe. Good for measuring, squaring stuff, or checking square. Not an everyday item for me as far as using it, but it does come in handy. Scraper pry bar. This one's made by Stanley. Spring steel, nice and tough. It's got a nail puller. You know, it's one of those things I use a lot for cleaning stuff, prying off casing, or opening stuff, opening paint cans, scraping stuff, cleaning stuff, you name it. It's just one of those all-in-one tools that are really handy. Got some ball end hex wrenches or Allen wrenches, Bondus. Really good brand, made in USA. I don't really much care for their holders. They get a little loose as time goes on, but their wrenches are made very well. Their heat treat is really good. I've never broken one of these or bent one of these or twisted them. Can't say that about every other ball end hex wrench I've ever used. But they're a good brand. I've got standard, metric, and they'll handle most of what you need to throw at it. Another Klein 4-in-1 multi-bit screwdriver. These are your smaller Phillips and slotted. I think 0 and 00 if I remember right. Good for things like thermostats and little electrical terminal strips and things. It's got the spinner on the back. Just a really nice screwdriver. It's hard to beat a Klein screwdriver. So those stay in the front there. I've got some vice grips. These are by Irwin, who I believe made the original vice grips. And these are kind of a newer take on these. Instead of the little squeeze tabs on this front end of the handle, you just pull on them and that's it. They've also got a little hex head here for a little extra leverage. This is 5mm. I think this smaller puller is 3mm. I like having both of these. They give you plenty of options. These come in a set, and these pull open as well. 3mm hex on this button as well. And what's nice on these needle nose is they're mostly parallel. They're really good for clamping off hoses. If you need to clamp it to a door to keep it open, like an electrical panel door or a unit or something, they work really well. And you know, whatever you use your standard vice grips for, these will do it. So good option to have. Empire level. This is one brand I really like. That was the same brand as the combo square. I think they have a tolerance guarantee on a lot of these, but these are made in the USA. They're very reasonably priced. They got the magnetic strip here. Just a good tool to have in any tool bag. And working on around here, we've got a magnetic pickup. This is a Tool Shop brand, strong magnet with a little cover on the end. Also has a little LED light And what I actually do for these, they've got 3 LR44 button cells in them and a little cartridge here. I keep that flipped around while I'm storing it so that my light doesn't accidentally come on and go dead. Just a little tip for you guys. I've had this in a bag before where it gets bumped and it twists just enough to turn on. And then whenever I need the light, it's turned off. Not a bad idea to keep a couple extra button cells in your bag, which I need to do. That'll probably be, you know, in this CLC bag along with my other electrical stuff. I'll wrap some up in some duct tape or whatever. But I keep them backwards so then when I need them I can flip them around and I've got a light that's actually going to work. But this is a really handy tool, dropping screws into condensers, dropping tools into engine bays and things like that. I use this quite a bit, and it's a real lifesaver. So that's that. Just a Bic lighter, self-explanatory. You know, burning off threads, fusing paracord, heat shrink, lighting something to light pilots with, lighting torches. Just a handy little tool to have, doesn't take up any room. This is a Sharp Draw HD. I think that's like a graphite based, or maybe not graphite, but some kind of different material. Not like your standard pencil lead, it's more like a plastic almost. But you can break it off like a utility knife. If you need to sharpen it, you can sharpen it. But you get a nice clean edge every time. It's got a little pocket clip. One thing I don't like about this is the clip does come off a little too easily. Of course, you can use it to snap your lead. I wish it locked in there a little better. I almost lost it a few times. But kind of a neat little pencil. That stays in there. Inspection mirror, pretty straightforward. One of those things when you need them, you need them. And in the same bag, I've also got a Schrader core or a Schrader valve tool, small and large ends. Again, not every day, but when you need it, you need it. Tapered Pin Punch. I like these for several different uses, from driving out pins and fasteners to lining up holes, lining up a motor base, for instance, before you drive a fastener in. It's just one of those tools that I reach for a lot for different tasks, you know, even digging and cleaning stuff out. It's a hardened piece of steel with a taper on it. You know, what more could you want? Even driving stuff in works pretty well. Brass brush, good for general cleaning, terminals, threads, you name it. Brass doesn't harm anything. You know, brush your teeth with it, whatever you got to do. Probably wouldn't brush my teeth with it, but it's good for cleaning. This is my general crimper and stripper tool made by Vice Grip. It's got every size of screw cutter you could ever want. All kinds of different crimping dies or configurations, good cutters. A loop bender. Let's see, this is 18 or 22 gauge all the way up to 10. So I'm not sure if these are really better than your Klein strippers that everybody likes, but they're probably about half the price. And they've held up very well over the years. I've used these a ton. Probably cut some things I shouldn't have with them, and they've held up. They got a little needle nose on the end. I don't use a lot, but you know, they work. And just really lightweight and comfortable. And I've really liked using these over the years. So those are some good strippers. I got some 3M safety glasses just to have a pair on the bag just in case. You never know what you're working on or around. Might be spraying at you, or you know, a bunch of dust and dirt falling in your eye working under a car or under a crawl space. These are nice to have on hand. Uvex is probably my favorite brand, but these 3Ms I had lying around, they're brand new, so I threw them back on the bag. Tape measure here. This bag does have a tape clip, but you kind of got to be careful. If you set this bag down too hard or lean it forward, this tape can pop off from time to time, so I like to clip it up a little bit higher. But this is a new purchase and one I really like. Normally I prefer the Stanley Fat Max. I've bought several of those over the years and they last a really long time. They're easy to read. But I tried these. They've got a real high-vis finish on the tape. Really large and easy to read numbers, which as I'm getting older is becoming kind of a thing. All your standard framing, notation, colors, markers, and so on. And it's got my favorite configuration for the hash marks. I really cannot stand fraction tapes that have all the fractions. It's just too much to look at, too busy. I can read a tape faster this way than even if I'm looking at the actual numbers. So it's always nice to have it this way. It doesn't have the centimeters on one side, inches on the other, but the same marks that I can mark either side of the tape, which is nice. And then this hook or claw on the end is nice and wide. There's also one on the top, so you can hook from both sides. And a neat feature on this one, it's actually got numbers on both sides, which I believe go the length of the tape. Again, high vis, high contrast, and seems to be really well made, very smooth. The lock's really nice, the clip's nice. And what I'm really impressed with is this has a lifetime warranty. So if I break this, if it fails, I could take it to Menards, swap it out for one of equal or lesser value, and get right back on the job. So I'm going to try it out. Whether it'll stand the test of time as well as Stanley Fat Max's, I don't know, but it looks promising. Utility knife, Milwaukee Fastback. One of my favorite types of utility knives anymore, button lock. You can swing open and closed. This one's got a notch for the strap cutter on the back. It's also got one on the front, which is also really good if you're stripping wires. You can kind of push the wire down in there, peel the insulation off, or strip it this way. Just a really good all-around knife, and this one has extra blade storage. I think I've got 5 additional blades jammed in here. And it's just really well designed, you know, made of metal, nice strong pocket clip. Blade changes are super easy. And unlike a lot of these folding box cutter style knives, I've yet to have one of these blades pull out on me. So they seem to have really designed this with the user in mind. And I've been really impressed with these. Now, one tip on these, if you are going to buy one, they sell these individually with the strap cutter notches for I think $15 in a clamshell. But there's also another clamshell pack that has this one and the smaller one that does not have the notch or the blade storage. So it's basically a 2-pack, one of these and one of the other, for the same price as just one of these. So it's kind of like a buy one, get one free. Make sure you pick that one out instead of just the single one. So that's that. We talked about the gloves and the glove clip already. Got some adjustable wrenches here. This is another Master Force wrench, 12 inches. I think I paid about $12 for this. It's got your inches and millimeter marks. Wide capacity up to just over 1.5 inches. I think it's like 1 5/8. So if I need to like rack a 2x4, twist a piece of framing lumber, I can. Lots of leverage, lots of weight on this. Use it as a hammer. Just a really handy tool, lifetime warranty. And for the price, you can't beat it. Now, I did go a little pricier for the 6-inch. This is my favorite as far as adjustable brands. Is going to be the Channel Lock adjustable wrenches. These are made in Spain. Really wide capacity for this 6-inch size. It goes up to, I believe, almost 1 inch, 15/16, something like that. And just a really well-made, lightweight wrench. They also have the wide-as versions of these, 6 and 8-inch, I believe. They're about twice as much money, but they go even wider and longer. Just the best all-around adjustable you can buy, not including the Canipex Pliers wrench, of course. Tubing cutter is just a cheapie. It doesn't have the extra wheel in the bottom, for the cutter. But it does what it needs to do if you're cutting or scoring. Works well for PVC, copper, brass, steel, you name it. Not an everyday tool. It comes in handy. I don't think I mentioned this yet. It's a 4-in-1 rasp and file. Good for sharpening scrapers, roughing in drywall, plywood, that kind of thing. Again, not a tool you're going to want to build a whole house with, but it is something that's not a bad idea to keep in your tool bag. So I think we've pretty much covered everything. Hopefully I made this a little bit quicker than the 45-minute video from last time. And looks like we're at 35 minutes, so I save you guys 10 minutes of your life. Let me know what you guys think. Is this a good loadout? Do I have something that maybe you guys hadn't thought of? Is there something else I should have in here? Curious to know what you guys think. Again, I've had some kind of version or iteration of this, over the years that I've used for all kinds of jobs. It's very similar to what I use for my day job as an HVAC tech, or that I've used even as a stationary engineer. It's got just a little bit of something for everything. And there's even still a little bit of room for, expansion if or when I feel like I would ever need to. So I kind of already mentioned a couple things I may add to it down the line, but this will definitely get me started and even finished on most jobs. So I'm not gonna keep you guys probably while I load the whole thing back up, or maybe I will. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll just blabber on a little bit more. But yeah, I really like these Master Force tools. Again, with their lifetime warranty versus the price, they're really hard to beat. They're probably on par with Pittsburgh or Harbor Freight, which is another place I'm starting to grow more and more fond of, just based on the warranty and the price and accessibility of a lot of their tools. If this is stuff you're doing in and out every day, maybe spend a little bit more on some of the nicer brands of tools. I got a little bit of everything in here, in different kinds of brands, and cheap and expensive. But they all do the job, and they work well for me. So nice little bag, about 35 pounds at the most. I could sling around the shoulder. I can run up or down a ladder, go where I need to, and do what I need to do. Even just around the house, or if I get a call from somewhere, I can grab it and go, and be pretty confident that I'll have most of what I need. And anything else I can throw into another bag, like screw guns, a little portable ladder, that kind of thing. So this is a good option, nice and compact, and easy to store under a bench, or out in the back seat of the truck or wherever. Be good to go. So yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I'm impressed. And as always, appreciate you guys' time, and we'll see you on the next one.